Previously on Balls.
We've got a very special guest in studio with us. I think it was last week I was very happy to learn that I'd been named an ambassador for Barking Mad. It's a dog rehabilitation and adoption centre. And myself and Tamron Jardine, who's Miss Earth South Africa, we went through to the centre last week, which is in Midrand. And it was the most wonderful experience. Often when you go to these kind of rehabilitation centers or rescue centers for animals, it breaks your heart. But you go through to Barking Mad, and it was such a great morning because these dogs are in the most wonderful conditions. They have behavioral experts, rehabilitating these dogs. So a lot of them interact so well with visitors. They're well trained. They're beautiful. And I was so impressed with the organization, and I was very happy to hear that Tracy would come on the show this morning. If you just move the microphone right up to your mouth. And just to tell us a little bit more about it, I'm sure there are lots of you out there that have a soft spot, especially for dogs. And if you do, I would really suggest that you put your energy and support behind Barking Mad, because the furry friends that happen to land up there are extremely, extremely lucky. So welcome, Tracy. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So maybe you can just tell us in essence what Barking Mad is all about.
Okay, Barking Mad is an animal rehabilitation centre, as you said. A lot of time there are dogs in rescue centres that either have a behaviour or medical problem, and it's quite an expensive and time-consuming thing for all rescue centres to be able to put that kind of effort in to help those dogs find a home.
What kind of behavioural problems are you talking about?
A lot of our dogs come in with guardian issues, so they might guard their food bowl or their toys, or so their families no longer want them, because if they accidentally pick up their toy near the dog wants to bite them. So a lot of our dogs have a bite history. They've either bit another dog or a person. And basically that kind of behavior really only happens because they were never taught that it's okay for my hand to go into their food bowl, that I'm not going to be stealing what they presume is their last meal. So a lot of those dogs just need to learn that. I mean, we all spend most of our time at Barking Mad, especially at feeding time, putting our hands in bowls and touching them while we're feeding them. So we use every opportunity as a training experience. And because we are fortunate that we're all qualified animal behaviorists, we have that time and expertise to do this. So where a lot of times in rescue centres, the feeding process might take maybe an hour, it takes us 3 hours to feed our dogs, because we're training them at that time. And the thing is, these dogs wouldn't have anywhere to go if we didn't work with them and help fix their problem.
So I'm correct that a lot of the time you get some of your dogs from other rescue centres that can't deal with the behavioural problems of these dogs, and these dogs aren't going to be adopted at these other centres because of these behavioural problems. So you take them in, like rehabilitate them in terms of their behavioural problems, and then make them ready for adoption.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many of your dogs get adopted each, maybe on a monthly basis?
We average on about 10 dogs
10
a
month.
month, which the last month was huge. We were 22 dogs, but that
great.
was because we had a litter of puppies, and of course puppies always
Puppies
find a home
fly.
quick.
Sure. I actually, when I visited the centre last week, I took one of the dogs for a walk that was ready for adoption. And it was so well trained, so much better behaved than my two dogs at home. So the beauty of Barking Mad is if you adopt a dog from them, not only are you getting a dog that's had all its inoculations, that's been treated wonderfully at the rescue center, but you're getting a trained dog. I mean, that's a big investment to train your dog, and the dogs that come from there have basic training.
And we're a support system. Once you have adopted the dog, it's not like, cheers, thanks for coming, there you go. If you have any issues in the home environment with the dog, we're a phone call away. We will come out and work with you and the dog to help it settle. A lot of the times people, when they take a rescue dog, they kind of mollycoddle the dog, where it's like, oh, poor dog, you've had such a hard life. And then the other dogs in the family are thinking, hey, what about us? So we try and help you integrate the dog into your new family the right way, because we want that dog to be in your home forever. We want you to be the forever home of this dog.
Sure. And how is Barking Mad supported? Do you rely solely on donations?
Yeah, it's totally from the public. Our biggest fundraiser is our SMS campaign, where you can SMS the word dog to 38919. It costs 10 Rand. And that is the majority of our income. It's about a third of our income. The rest of the money, you can either sponsor one of the gardens that the dogs live in, you can sponsor one of the houses they live in, you can sponsor the actual dog.
And now when Tracy mentions like the houses they live in, literally, it's the most wonderful thing to see. You arrive there and each dog has a considerable amount of grass with its own little Wendy house on, so that's its house, and it's got its like a nice 3-seater couch outside the Wendy house. So literally these dogs, they have shade in every enclosure, so it really is a perfect situation.
We try and make it as homely as possible for a shelter dog, because a lot of them come in with problems, so they are going to be there a while. It's not going to be a come in this week, be in a loving home the next week. Some of them, we're looking at 6 months to a year rehabilitation.
And how many dogs do you have at the moment?
We average on 100 dogs in our care, and we work per 10 dogs. We have one human person that's taking care of them.
One human per 10 dogs. So you rely on donations, and especially this SMS line. So I'm going to punt the SMS line. If there are any of you that have a soft spot for particularly dogs or any animals, and you'd like to support Barking Mad, it just takes literally 30 seconds to SMS 38919. We will put this on the Facebook page and on Twitter. You SMS 38919. The SMS costs 10 Rand, and you just SMS the word dog, and you will be donating 10 Rand towards Barking Mad. And now, I know that 2 little puppies were named after myself and Tamron, the new ambassadors for Barking Mad. Have they been homed yet?
No, they haven't. Because they've only been with us about a week now. It was classic because they arrived just after the day after you'd been there. So, and it was 2 pretty girls. So what else were we going to call them after your visit?
I was honored. Thank you.
So we generally, when a new dog comes in, we keep them for 2 weeks just to make sure they don't have any underlying health issues. And with puppies specifically, we like them to have their second vaccination before they head home.
Okay, so really a lot of care given to the animals. And I mean, I heard some horror stories when I was at the shelter about the way that some people are able to treat animals. I know it's not Great Friday morning conversation, but I was so surprised to hear that these dog fighting rings still exist, and Barking Mad get a lot of the dogs in that are in a terrible state due to these fighting rings that are still going.
Unfortunately, it's actually getting bigger. The dog fighting scenario in South Africa, and if anybody actually knows a pit bull as the breed, I mean, they don't naturally want to fight. They're very loving, especially to humans. They used to be called the nanny dog,
really,
because they used to be really good at looking after children. But the thing is, if you taunt a dog, the dog wants to please the owner. So, if they're teaching it to do bad things, it's going to do it to please the owner. And if you have a pit bull and you raise it right, they are the most loving, caring dogs ever.
Yeah.
And they rehabilitate really well. I did my training out at a place called Dogtown in Best Friends Animal Society out in Utah. They actually took in the Michael Vick dogs when they did the Michael Vick bust, where I know he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles now, but he was busted with a fighting ring, and all those dogs, bar 2, were rehabilitated and rehomed, and most of them are little doggy ambassadors now, going out to schools and helping to squash the horrible.
I was horrified to hear how common it is in South Africa still. I thought it was something we had control over. It's really, I mean, it just isn't acceptable, is it? We saw a couple of dogs at the Barking Mad Center, what you call bait dogs. that are put in these fighting rings. And it's a little too terrible to go into any detail, but these are some of the animals that Barking Mad do rehabilitate. They get them, into a state where they can interact with people, interact with other dogs, and then get a happy home at the end of the day. Yeah. So it is a happy story, and it is a wonderful center for you to throw your weight behind. That's Barking Mad, and to support them, you can SMS 38919. 381-919. That's the best way to support you guys.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on Facebook. If you search Barking Mad, you will find us. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Barking Mad for Dogs. And we have a website, which is currently having an upgrade at the moment, so bear with us. That's barkingmad.coza.
Okay, all right. So if you're a dog lover like I am, it's certainly an organization to watch for. And if you know anyone that's looking to adopt a dog, you can tell them about Barking Mad. All right, thank you so much for coming in this morning. All right, so it's been a busy Friday morning here on the Hayley O Show. Sasha and Daisy are standing by to take you through to midday, and ENF, I think, is also coming in until 1. It's been a great morning spending time with you. Enjoy your weekend. Tracy, what you up to this weekend?
I'll be at the centre.
You'll be at the centre
it's
dedicating.
It's our busiest time for volunteers to come through and help at the centre, so we're generally all there.
Okay, well, I hope with Mandela Day coming up, you'll have some great volunteers dedicating 67 minutes of their time to a great cause. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. I'm Hayley O. See you next week.
The Hayley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on bulls.co.za.